Yo, these youngins don't move like we used to. Ain't throwing Sunday barbecues like we used to. Why don't they ever keep it cool like we used to? Why don't they just stay true like we used to? Hey yo, these youngins don't move like we used to. Ain't throwing Sunday barbecues like we used to. Why don't they ever keep it cool like we used to? Why don't they just stay true like we used to? Like we used
Moving
to.
in the slab down the street on some slow shit. 2 miles an hour, so everybody notices.
Our senses, right? We can see, taste, touch, smell, and hear.
In my element, on a level you never been. Where you got is irrelevant, do what you never done, and I done what you never did, and my greatness is evidence. When it comes to the money, this isn't a game. I ain't making monopoly funds, don't run from a hater. Pull up with the heaters that hop out like you hit the block with the sun. Who you know sharper than one? I'm smoking all the competition like a prime time. I'm spitting that Gucci, that Fendi, that Prada, and dropping these top of the line rhymes. Them line rhymes like dimes, cause in my mind there's no contest to these metaphors and these concepts. I got them feeling so hard pressed, they won't press back cause they harmless. Right-handed but I got a strong left, you can't handle these paws that I spar with. And like hammers I bang on your forehead and they all vexed cause I'm all next. Got a panic and I get the bomb thread, cause the shit that I'm spitting is hitting so hard that the damage is so river cortex.
Your cerebral cortex, your fucked up cerebellum.
You know what? People should be using their cerebral cortex more often these days. I think that would be good. Hey, welcome to Dangerous Thoughts. I'm Manu, the Big M, the Mons, the Monster, Mickey's son, Manchach, and this is my co-host, Ticin Strasberg. This is Dangerous Thoughts. We come to you every Sunday night at 6 p.m. on this thing called YouTube and this other thing called, I think it's called the Global Interweb or something like that. Welcome to Dangerous Thoughts. This is a podcast that dives headfirst, not like jumps off like a wussy, but we dive headfirst straight into the shadowy realms of reality. We explore the edges where most fear to tread. We talk about things, we question everything, we fear nothing. From the mysteries of consciousness to the unsettling truths lurking behind the facade of everyday life, everyday reality. We want you to join us on this journey, embark with us. In fact, at the end of the show, we bring guests on that are watching live. You can go to @SubscriptPirate on X, write us a little note. You can also go and click on the Discord link and join us live if you too have a smartphone and a computer, which it seems is the reality these days, right? I mean, we're all living through this dark tech. I think it's dangerous, but I'm here. Anyway, next, what was the next thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah. If you want to help sponsor the show and keep us on the air, this is episode 70, Ticin. Can you believe that? I mean, we're not even counting the X episodes, I don't think. Are we? I don't think. I think this is actually episode 70 of the actual video podcast. It's pretty crazy that we've done 70 episodes already. Life ticks by, man. I'm proud of us. So episode 70. If you want to help sponsor us, go to ClickTight @ClickTight, CLICTYT. Download the music. ClickTight is always giving us the opening credits, closing credits. Great music, great hip hop, great eclectic stuff, gangster rap, all of it, man. ClickTight, CLICTYT on all your favorite music channels, streamers, everywhere you go to get your music. Go check out ClickTight. Also, you could go to Gemsticks, GEMSTX.com and buy yourself a Gemsticks. You can make your favorite oil out of your favorite plant. That's about all I can say. Get a Gemsticks. And also check out our Dangerous Thoughts website at Dangerous Thoughts Show. Tonight, live, we have Glowing Feather The Maji, the mystical one, the world famous, the man, the myth, the legend, the Maji, Glowing Feather, one of the original 1960s founding fathers. I guess I can't say this because it's not really true, of the Rainbow family. But there's no founding father of the Rainbow family. There's no organization. There's no figurehead. But I mean, this man is the man, and he will teach you about life in the cosmological universe, love, light, energy, positivity, and spirit. And you will dig him. I promise you. I promise you'll learn something as well. Because Glowing Feather also in his other life was a teacher for a very long time and has his master's degree, he told me backstage, in the fall of societies, which I think we'll jump right into right off the gate. So Tyson, what happened to you this week? Do you want to talk about anything before we bring on our magical guest?
Well, I will say that I read something really disturbing. It looks like MSNBC, CNBC, E Entertainment, Sci-Fi Network. It's all owned by Comcast. They're going to spin that out of the NBC portfolio, so that'll be separate from NBC News proper and the Comcast corporate, whatever. But the thing is, that means it's up for sale. And there was even joking in conservative circles about maybe Elon Musk buying MSNBC, and how funny would that be? And Joe Rogan would like to replace. Joe Rogan chimed in and said, "Hey, I'll take Rachel Maddow's." That just made me sick.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, if
oh man. We can't.
It's all a joke to me, anyways. But
it is all a joke. I mean, all TV has always been a joke. It's always been propaganda. But now that there's two sides very clearly in TV propaganda, that is pretty scary.
Well, imagine one side going away. Imagine if all the TV propaganda was right wing and there was no counterbalance, right? No leftist, no liberal, no peace and love channel. Only laws, the doom and gloom.
I don't like new laws, but I would like to go back to that law they have in England where you can't say anything on the news that isn't a fact. And if you do, the announcer has to say, hey, this is an opinion. This is not a fact. It seems like news these days is just all opinion, no fact checking, just blah, 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 blah. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It'd be nice if you had to actually follow those rules of like facts only on the news instead of slanted opinions. But on this show, we can have slanted opinions because we're not the fucking news. But tonight we want to probably talk about love and light. That's scary, man. I don't have anything to talk about this week except for my good friend, Glowing Feather The Maji, who I love, who I've known since I was like yay high. Actually, probably down here. He's known me since I was a little kid. Good friend of my father's. My father is also a very 1960s. Put any label you want on him. Lover of light and revolutionary. My dad put his whole life into trying to legalize marijuana for the most part was his big thing, and he did a good job of helping the world with that. And we're still in the middle of that, what they like to call a war, the drug war. Oh, what a stupid thing. I'm all for legalizing drugs. We'll see what Maji thinks about that. But yeah, I got nothing. So let's bring on Glowing Feather The Maji, the myth, the man, the legend. Look at that, man. I love you, dude. It's nice to see you. And I'm really excited about this episode.
A little history. People ask me, where you from? And my answer is so clear: from my mother's womb. Then the second question, my first breath was in Lynn, Massachusetts. In 1949, 120,000 people, the shoe industry of America. My mother worked at the General Electric GE factory pouring raw aluminum on wings for the fighter boys. But she ended up getting environmental Alzheimer's from it. And my Boston life was so strange because I hardly spent time in school. I would skip school and go to the Boston University theology and listen to Martin Luther King. He went to that school of theology and share his thoughts when I was only 14, 15. When I was 17 years old, I was only in the 10th grade because I purposely stayed back because I was in love with Dorothy Crowley and she always dissed me,
So
and
this
so
is
I
what I was
joined the
thinking
Navy.
of this morning, hon. I'm calling you honey. You see how much I love you. This morning, I was actually peeing and I was thinking, man, we're going to have Maji on tonight. The Maji. We're going to have Glowing Feather. We're going to have Mario. I don't know if you want me to give your government name. We're going to have Mario Luigi Gigliazzi on tonight. But I went, oh my God, it's 19, like your generation, which has been so much of a big part of my later generation. You're the earlier generation. You told me, to steal your words, the earlier generation, there's not going to be any old hippies around in another 2 decades or something.
But
There's not going to be
I
any.
told you, I'm not older than you. I'm earlier than you. Before you. You're after. It's the latest generation.
But what are we going to do without you guys? Like what?
No, because here's the truth. 500 years from now, as long as we don't have a nuclear war, people are going to be talking about me. I know this. They're going to be talking about this magical, mystical magi. But I have to do a quick history, just a quick history.
Born in
1949, from a woman that had 3 Italian boys from 3 different Italian men, 5 years apart, 44, me in 49, and my younger brother in 54. She named my older brother Vittorio Eugenio De Gregorio. She named me Mario Luigi Galeazzi. She made my younger brother Giovanni Francisco Giacomo. But each man ditched her. So she was done with men. She raised us. And when I was 18 years old, my older brother was 23. He fell in love with a Jewish girl and was going to do the little brisk, even though we're all circumcised. Then my mother, little drunk, says, hey, you don't have to do this, because my mother was an Albanian Jew escaping to Sicily in 1914 at 14 years old. It was raised in Sicily and came over pregnant with my mother. And she ate a blueberry, jumped on the truck that went to Maine on the first day, met not my blood grandfather, but this Algonquin Indian that married her.
Wow.
It's all these mystical, magical. I go back to 1966 in the Navy. I'm on the Kitty Hawk watching planes going and bombing Buddhists that fought for us in World War II. And I knew it was wrong, but I did my duty, but I was brokenhearted. When I got out in May 69, I was going to go to college on the dime of the Navy, but all these kids would call me baby killer because I had short hair. And I go, no, I'm against it. But then I went to this beautiful meeting with it was called the Vietnam Veterans Against the War. John Kerry. I was in the same room with him, and I was sharing shared that space, of being against the war and being a veteran. Why our current president, just a little politics, got out.
These are 2 questions that I have for you tonight, actually. So it's nice that you're on this topic.
But let me finish with the Woodstock. So here's what happened. I was on my way to my accountant lifestyle. I went on this bus, this subway called the Blue Line at a place called Wonderland, from Lynn bus to Wonderland. And the second stop, Beachmont, this hippie girl comes walking in, and everybody looks at her with disdain. But my mother taught me to be a gentleman. I stood up and gave her my seat. And she looked at me. She looked like she was crying. She goes, I'm the newest chick in the Creedence CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. And all the other chicks have put me on the plane with a setup crew. Will you come as my chaperone until my man comes to Woodstock? And I knew about Woodstock, but it cost too much. I mean, $18. So the next stop,
you know how much a concert like that would cost today?
Yeah, the next stop was the airline. I mean, was the airport. So I get off with her, and I looked at everybody. I'll go to Woodstock, losers.
Creedence Clearwater, man, I love that. But you know what? One of my generation, Manu, don't tell on me, favorite singer in the world, which you've probably never heard of, but he was kind of a hippie himself. His name was John Denver. He's to this day my favorite singer, and I think because he sang about that generation, the generation of peace and love, and through his music, I mean, the melodies were beautiful, but the lyrics, like the man could write.
So there's one of my questions. All right. So when I was terrified this morning, urinating, wondering about the death of the old hippies and them not existing anymore, do you think throughout history there's been very were the 60s the only flower children, or have the flower children appeared over and over and over?
They've always been here. But what happened is this. You got to understand, humans change. My mother said, Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, oh, your music is, oh, you don't know anything. But she played every morning Louis Armstrong singing What a Wonderful Life. You know?
Yeah.
And she never gave up. When she was 44, like I said, my older brother was 23, I was 18. She fell in love with a 22-year-old sailor, and they stayed married for 42 years. And I helped change my mother's diapers for the last 2 years of her life with my stepfather, you know, and it's beautiful. There is no death, brother. There is no end. All beginnings will have endings that lead to new beginnings. This hippie movement is going to end with the last one, but then there's going to be a new movement, a new energy force. And here's what it is. It goes into this, what I told you about. In my master's course, I took the end of civilizations. I checked Egypt, China, all these, Rome, Greece, and I studied. I went into the libraries, you know, they didn't have it. And I went into the books that were all dusty, and I found this out. Here's the number one thing of all these great civilizations failing. The rich and powerful got greedy and wanted more. And
whoever thought of such a thing? Rich and powerful people wanting to stay rich and powerful?
And that's what killed France. That's what killed China. That's what killed Egypt. The second, they sowed division amongst the masses and picked people to hate. The third, and this is really important, obesity in Egypt, obesity in China, obesity in Greece, obesity in Rome. Here's the fourth one, the destruction of the currency. What would happen in America if it goes through what Russia's gone through? If all of a sudden gasoline's $20 a gallon, a loaf of bread's $20, and everybody's got guns, it's crazy. Technology is not going to save us; it's going to enslave us. But here's what I've done for the last 20 years. I have a 50-acre self-sustainable farm in southern Costa Rica, where I have a cash crop that's going to, every 8 to 10 years from now on, is going to harvest me lots of money. And what it is, hardwood trees that the Costa Rican people use, because it's called Molina, the only tree that termites don't eat. And I cut 1 out of 3 and plant one. In the last 20 years, the government gave me $2,000 a year that went into the local economy for people to take care of the trees. So I got over $40,000 in the last 20 years. And now, when I cut the trees, I'm going to make $100 a tree. I'm going to walk out with about $200,000 to $300,000 in a couple of years, and I'm going around the world in a 120-day cruise.
Right on. So it's all sustainable, right? And so
self-sustainable. I got my food, I got my chickens and eggs, I got my goats and milk. And when I'm not there, my local worker who comes a mile away, who I've known since he was a child, and he takes care of the farm when I'm gone, and he eats the food and eats the things, but he can't sell. If he sells, he has to give me a percentage, and he takes a percentage.
Okay, you know? So what? Speak for your generation. What do you think are the most important things that your generation had to offer to pass down to the previous generation for this time period? But also, the next question would be in general for all time periods.
Peace, love, music, and going back to the land.
Right.
Planting seeds, planting your food, planting your dreams. Don't let all the static, don't let all the negative. I live in this beautiful bubble of peace, love, joy, and happiness that I found at Woodstock. I saw Richie Havens. Come on, I was in the backstage. If you ever see the movie, and Richie Havens leaving the stage, the first performer, I'm this guy on his left hand side as he leaving, short hair, doing this.
Yeah. Do you
Janis
think we're in that?
Joplin,
Do you think we're in the
Jimi
fall
Hendrix.
of
Yeah.
a civilization right now?
What's that?
Do you think we're in a fall of the civilization right now? Do you
Yeah,
think
this
America's
thing,
toast?
it is so clear, but I don't have fear. I know all beginnings will have endings that lead to new beginnings endlessly. Those who live in fear, anger, hatred are going to suffer. Those who live in love, peace, music, are going to prosper. But it's not money. Money is going away. Currency is not current because they're holding it all. They're hoarding it. What we need to do, if you're in New York, LA, Colorado, wherever you be, plant your seeds. Get chickens.
Start making food.
Have
Start making
eggs.
food. Yes.
Make
And
your
go to the
own
land.
food so you're not
Yeah.
depending on the truckers to bring your food to you.
The truckers and the oil and everything that
Right.
it
Go to your
takes,
grandfather.
and the war
Right.
machine that pays for it
Right.
all.
There's
Yeah, okay.
a new currency being developed by China, Russia, and Iran, including all these rich Texans and oil people called petrodollars.
Oh,
Based
we've been on
on
the petro as
petrol.
well. Yeah.
Right? And the states
yeah.
own the petro, not the nation, So it's gonna tear us apart. There's so much hate and anger, suffering and misery. But I just stay in the love of my light and the light of my love. And I got a plan B.
Yeah.
Earth
Well, I
Lord
dig
Farm.
it that you're on the farm. A lot of me and my friends and people on the show and my producer Casi, we're all talking about let's go get some land and let's go make use of that land in a positive way for people and our
If you
friends,
come on
family,
my
and our
land,
circle of
I have a
empathy.
piece of land for 20,000, 25,000, but you get the whole 50 acres to use.
Yeah. By the
No,
way, Maji has invited the Dangerous Thoughts crew down to his birthday party this year. So if you want to help send a couple of cameras down there and make a documentary on Glowing Feather and his what's the farm called again?
Earth
Rose Farm.
Road
Earth Rose
Farm.
Farm down in Costa
Yep.
Rica.
Right.
Go to dangerousthoughts.show and donate for our trip down to make the Glowing Feather Magi documentary, which I think would be wonderful.
We'll do a Sunday Dangerous Thoughts from there because I have internet.
Yeah. So
So
where you have internet on a farm, on a self-sustainable farm? Oh my God!
Because
That's
the
amazing.
mountain in front of me has the 5G.
Has the tower on it? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So when's the birthday?
February 12th to 14th.
All right.
I do a 3-day festival.
All right. So back on the flower children hippies movement. What do you think springs that type of? I know what happened. Is it always war? Is it always
What happened?
I don't know. I can hear you, but you're starting to get wobbly, and now you're frozen in one place. And
Farm
we might have
internet.
lost-
Taken from somebody who's rural. I get it.
Yeah, as soon as he said he had internet on a farm, there it went. All right. Well, what do you think, Tyson? What do you think these look at this guy. I grew up with all these men around me and women like this, and this thing called a rainbow gathering, which was 30,000 flower children and gathering in the woods, praying for peace and love and trying to make a sustainable community. And they would do it year round. They wouldn't just do it, the national gathering, but they would do these regional gatherings. And I was basically raised at these things because I was kicked out of my home by the ATF and the DEA when I was 8. And my mom had to raise me somewhere. And so we went to these gatherings that were basically lost children or children that were, or people that were, disenfranchised by their government.
But
where do these movements come from?
But they're more than just that. So I grew up in the sci-fi fandom movement where my mother sang a type of music called filk music, not folk, filk, F-I-L-K. And filk is kind of the sci-fi.
Filk you, man. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the sci-fi version of folk music.
Okay.
And they're a very tight-knit group. We would have filk sings. We would have very similar to the Rainbow Gathering sings, where everybody comes. They play guitar, they sing songs, they commune. They, sometimes would dress up, and we would go to conventions. There was Cactus Con, Concord, just all the different cons that would happen, and very much it was peace and love, but it was kind of with the sci-fi theme, right?
With a
Uh,
future in mind.
yeah, with the future in mind. Very a lot of Star Trek people, a lot of Star Wars people. They called it fandom. I'm sure you've heard of fandom.
Yeah.
Um,
But I've never
and
heard of
just
folk music. I should look into it.
you got to look up folk music. Yeah,
Well,
my mother. You've heard some of her songs. She was a folk singer. So
she's
that's
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah.
Those songs were beautiful. We should play one on the show sometime. Okay, so this is so we're not these people aren't going to just vanish off the place of the earth. This is what my lady told me this morning. She said, "Don't worry about it, Manu. There's still hippies. There's people right now living in communes and sharing avocados and planting on their land and teaching their children that that's important. This is not something that's gone away." But what scared me about it is, a lot of my older, for lack of a better word, hippie enlightened friends are getting older and checking out, and my father, my mother, and etc. are getting older, and I wondered, oh wow, is this the last of that kind of light? And I certainly hope not. The other thing that happened this year, and I hope Maji can get back online because he can speak to it because he was there, was for the very first time, and I hope I'm not saying false things, but for the very first time, the U.S. government and the what are the guys that take care of the forest, the cops of the forest, the national park?
The U.S. Forestry Service?
The Forest Service. For the first time, the Forest Service closed the Rainbow Gathering down. And what I thought was so beautiful about the Rainbow Gathering is it took our constitutional right to freely assemble, and they never got permits, and they just went. That we would pick a national forest and we would send scouts there. People would volunteer to go find a site. We would always pick up our trash. We would always dig good latrines away from water sources. We were very hippie conscious about leaving the land the way we left it. But we would, the Rainbow family would never buy the permit from the local government. We would wipe out the local town's economy as far as like giving them all our dough and feeding the 30,000 people that would gather there. The towns would always make money. But for the first time in like 50 years of this movement, the Forest Service, I believe, was able to kick everyone off the land. And in the last 50 years of this event, some hippie from the movement would raise their hand and say, "I'll go to court for this free assembly," and then the community would pay for that court case. So one guy or two guys or 10 guys would go to jail and fight the case for this whole movement to keep happening. And for 50 years, we won. We freely assembled without permits, and we did this beautiful thing called the Rainbow Gathering. But for the first time this year, I believe the Forest Service convinced the 15,000 or 20,000 people to show up to leave, or they said they were going to arrest everyone. And I believe everyone left, and I would like to ask Maji about that because that's
is it worth it though to pay for the stupid permit, even though I get that there's an ethical reason why not to do it, but pay for the damn permit so the thing can happen in 2025 rather than people showing up and just having it disbanded, right? Why not pay for the permit?
Because we don't have to. It's our constitutional right to freely assemble everywhere we want, anywhere we want. That's in the Constitution. We shouldn't have to pay for local ordinances. That's bullshit.
Then why isn't there more of a rally around news organizations to say, hey, you need to share this story. This is a real thing. This has always been happening. We've been very careful with the land.
Because the last thing that the global elite people that own the news stations want is the hippies that want to set up communes and live on government land and live peacefully.
But that's different than a Rainbow Gathering. That's different. Because you're not going there to live. You're only going there for the gathering and then you're leaving.
No. I'm telling you, I grew up at Rainbow Gatherings. They were constant and they were unpermitted events. The Rainbow Gathering has
2 weeks here, then 2 weeks there, and then 2 weeks over here, and then 2 weeks over here.
Yeah, exactly. We would go from state to state to state to state. And then at the end of the year, well, actually, it's usually January through July, we would go to the National Gathering. And the National Gathering would be the 1st through the 7th of July. But really, the people would hang out on the land from about the first 4 months of the year
All
It's
right.
not just those 7 days. It gets real big during those 7 days.
Did a goat
All right,
eat
so
your router?
Maji, you were
Did a
there
goat
this
eat your
year,
router?
right?
What happened?
So we're talking about the
Uh,
Rainbow Gathering. And
Yes.
what we were talking about is for 50 years, I was so proud to be a part of the Rainbow Gathering and a part of the Rainbow family, because I would walk on that land with 30,000 people praying for peace and love on July 4th instead of lighting
Yeah.
fireworks and chugging beers and blowing shit up. And I would walk around that land on acid at 11 years old, watching fires burn and naked people dance in the light. There was a sense of real freedom in America every time that I would go to a Rainbow Gathering. And they were unpermitted, beautiful, take care of the earth ceremonies of peace, love, and light that I found to be just amazing. Every time I went, I would be like, I'm so proud that this happens in my country. And it would give me a sense of national purpose and a sense of like there is freedom in America. There and for the first time this year, I heard they shut the gathering down. Is that true?
Yes, they did. But to go back to what you were saying, in the early days, there were a lot of Vietnam veterans there. Plunker was Army Ranger. You know, I was and when I saw the POW flag in the rainbow, you know, they welcomed me home. Where the college kids would call me baby killer. They would welcome me home. But rainbow, here's my perception. It's not about a person, a place, a face. Rainbow is what you bring. If you come and you help and you dig shitters and you work in the kitchens, you're part of it. But if you go just to trade circle, go and just do this and party, you don't get it. You don't last long. But if you participate, relate, partake in the circle, hold hands, celebrate your life, your love, that's the presence.
So Tyson, this is what bothered me, right? The Rainbow Gathering doesn't allow money. There are no ticket prices. You just go. You can't sell anything there. There's no money transactions. The way that we're fed is that 30,000 people gather. They set up kitchens in the forest. They set up fires. They bring buses full of energy and people. And in the circle, at the end of the day, they blow this conch shell, and all these people come streaming out of the woods into the main circle, and they pass a magic hat, and like, you know, musicians and dancers and poets pass a hat, and that's the only time that you can take out American currency and put it in the hat to feed the family, to feed the event. And then the event does a dinner, and all these kitchens do breakfast, lunches, and dinners. And, you know, a government, a self-government of people will give that money to the different kitchens so that everybody stays fed, the kids stay fed.
And no PAs, no electronic music, no steel guitars. It's all acoustic and drum.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Now, you know Burning Man? You know Burning Man?
Yeah, Burning
They
Man.
came as a group. The people that founded Burning Man came to Rainbow. In the parking lot, they did their Burning Man thing with speakers and music, and people came up to him. And I remember telling these people, I go, listen, why don't you create your own festival? You know,
Burning Man's great in its own way. I love Burning Man, but it's different.
And the Burning Man doesn't have money. Doesn't have money inside the Burning Man.
The Burning Man. No, but there's still, you
So
got to pay to
they
get
got that from Rainbow.
Yeah. But then, you know, in Rainbow, I would hang out because I was a kid and my parents were living there. I would see them clean up the forest afterwards.
Yeah.
I would see them leave with the forest would look like it was before all these people got there.
Better.
Yeah. And Burning Man, and not the same. You know, there's trash and shit after that event. That's cars and shit. You know, and they burn a big fucking statue at the end of the
They do good getting themselves out.
Look, I dig Burning Man, but the fact that people, you know, it's a little bit more. Rainbow's more of, for me at least, my Rainbow experience was more of like a magic village in the forest. Burning Man is more like, wow, take acid, let's go listen to music and fucking burn shit. Which, you know, all has its purpose.
Where did you sleep at the Rainbow gatherings? Did you all have tents? Did you?
Yeah, we all bring
rudimentary cabins
or sleep on the ground next to the fire.
Some built right from the land. built things. You know, they build their kitchens, they build their all from the land. They build the mud, they build the ovens, all from the land. Like he said, it's 2 or 3
Pull a
weeks
bunch of
before they
trees. Yeah, they prep for a good month and a half. People show up early and start prepping for the event, and
and they
they'll
take all the dead wood
all
around
the dead
and
wood
they
that's
use
around.
it.
They'll build feeders out of it, like beautiful
Theater.
feeders that like they'll pick a hill and the hillside will be like this, and at the bottom of the hill they'll put a theater
They,
and old made out of dead wood and whatever nails that we rounded up, and a fire in front of the theater sometimes. And so people are sitting on the mountainside watching live theater all night long from people that have just signed up to put on whatever act they're doing, music, poetry, skits, whatever. We do the Rainbow Variety Show. It's this amazing cultural event, and it's been going on for 50 years. And it scared me this year because this year the Forest Service every year has tried to close it down and tried to shut us down. And how we used to win, correct me if I'm wrong, we used to have somebody say, hey, we have the right to peaceful assembly. I'll take the beat on this. The family would support the court case. We would usually win the court case, and Rainbow would go on. How did they get the people to leave this year?
The fire danger, they scared the hell out of the local people, saying that we're going to burn down the forest and all this stuff. But what happened? There was 6, 7 little mini gatherings, but the Rainbow Gathering is no longer a national USA July 1st to 7th. There's Rainbow Gatherings. They have them in all over the world. They had them in the Sinai Peninsula. They had one in Brazil. They had the one in Costa Rica in 2020. And I went there and, and that was a foundation. I went to the first one in Costa Rica, was 2014, and just fell in love with the Costa Rican people and found it. So there's world gatherings, and they're different. They are like the old gathering. They don't have, they're like the old gatherings. One kitchen, a few tea houses. But the Rainbow Gathering has morphed into 20, 30 kitchens, and different groups of people. Because one of the things that my observation of America is the ego. I call it BOGO, the rainbow ego. There are people that think they're more rainbow than me. They're more rainbow than somebody coming in. But when I meet people,
I'm more punk than you. Fuck you.
I go, you got a belly button, you're rainbow. And if you're an alien without a belly button, your belly button's in your ear or your nose, you're rainbow. So I greet everybody with love and light. But here's it, and this is too true. Not everybody likes the Magi. Happy people, loving people really love me, but miserable people, angry people can't friggin' stand me.
No. The Forest Service.
I make their skin crawl. There's a couple of women there that are so angry at men. And every time they see me, they know I've done Tantra workshops. They spread all these rumors, bad rumors about me. People question me and I go, listen. I'm not responsible for how you feel about me. I'm only responsible how I feel about you. And I love you.
Yeah. And how you feel about yourself. That's the other thing. And I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I think if you're a happy person and if you are full of joy and light and you spread joy and light, that's really all you can do. Sometimes that joy and light comes back to you. Sometimes it doesn't. But you can't let that beat you down. You do you.
So how do we do this? Because I'm terrified. Being the pessimistic guy, for the first time seeing Rainbow having been actually shut down by the police state, I'm seeing a big swing towards fascism, a big swing towards the police state. I freely traveled the world when I was on Star Trek and still do to conventions all over the place. But I spent 20 years going all over the world, and every country I went into was wonderful. And I felt when I went through customs, I felt welcomed. When I come home to my own country, I feel threatened and not welcome.
Yes,
and I'm an American citizen, and dogs are sniffing me, and they're scanning my eyeball, and all sorts of crazy, creepy shit, and they're digging through my bags, and I'm like, why this big swing towards fascism police state, and what can we do about it besides be positive?
Next year, the rainbow is going to be in Oklahoma, and a lot of people are pushing to get off federal land, to find a Native American tribe will let us go on their land.
That's
and
a
the
good
Forest
idea.
Service will get defunded to police us. And it's going to be hard to get the funds back from Musk, you know, because he's going to try to create his own thing.
Shouldn't be cops. They should be people that are taking care of the forest.
Right.
They shouldn't be armed and like
we are considered very dangerous because we're practicing love and light and peace and joy. And I tell you, it's catchy. And
it's a threat to those in power.
Yes, it is.
And I feel that's what we have to do. We can't meet Trump with hate. We can't meet them with hate and anger and go in the streets. No, what we have to do is love-ins, be-ins, free-ins. You know,
I'm not going to meet him at all.
And sing songs, sing songs, celebrate life. The original rainbow, this is the original rainbow for the first 20 years. We're in 20 different states.
Yeah.
Then, and
1991, and make friends with the Native Americans. And
right.
So we're not doing.
Listen, 1991 in Vermont was the 20th state. Well, Plunka, the Matana people said there's no good sites west of the Mississippi. We're going to start repeating sites. I and several other people said, no, we got to do different states. And on the 51st gathering, we're going to meet in Washington, D.C. You know, that was my idea. We don't need national forests. Do it at a beach. Do it in a park. Hey, we were on a cow field and got 200,000 people. I mean, we don't need the forest. But what happened is people got hooked on the national forest.
And it should be land that's used by people.
Yeah, but they got the Leos. And these people steal money from the government. They live in hotels. They get steak dinners every night. They're raising millions of dollars to take care of us. But, give us money.
Who is raising millions of dollars? Who?
The Leos, law enforcement organization. They have the same guys that get overtime, and they just sit in their thing, and they come in. They have to give you tickets. They have to hassle us. And if you get a ticket at a rainbow gathering, it's a federal offense. Yeah, and if you don't go to court,
because you're on
you get a federal warrant against you. And then they mark you, I mean, it's crazy,
But that's what I thought was so cool about the movement in general, was that we were actually using federal lands for what I think they were made for. To celebrate, to joy, to take care of, to teach our younger generation about how beautiful these lands are, to keep them not from being cut down, to use them for festivals and joy.
So the whole reason that they come in and harass you is because you're a group. Because if a couple went out into the forest and camped and had a little fire, nobody would lift an eyebrow, right?
Never a group.
Is it because it's a group? That's
no.
Why
what they did is they made a rule that more than 50 people or 75 people, you need to make a permit. Well, that first rule came in Texas, and a justice named Justice in Texas. His last name was Justice. We had a great lawyer, and Justice told the feds, you can't make rules against people, and you can't do this. So for a couple of years, they couldn't do it, but then they were able to find a judge that is right wing that said, yeah, anybody that has more than 75 people, on the 75th person, you have to have a permit. And that's how they did it. And
so what I tried rule or a state rule? What judge?
It's a national rule, not state. This is a federal. This is Leo.
Federal lands rule. Okay.
Right. And they did this because they want to make money. They want to charge the American taxpayer all this money to police us. And what they do is they go to these communities, they follow us on the internet. They sneak in. I'm sure they have covered agents.
Of course.
They have covered agents. And
of course, because they've always tried to say that there's a president of the Rainbow family, and we've always said, no, there isn't. We're a democracy. We have little meetings. We do it like the Indians. We pass the feather and we decide where we're going.
You know the secret. I'm the secret emperor.
You're the emperor of the fucking rainbow. Yeah. Well,
I get permission.
what was so cool?
Hey,
and
if you're the emperor, you can't do it this way. You have to do it this way.
yes,
We are quite safe from
yeah.
your pitiful prince here.
From our love and music and poetry. Yes. All right. So we've talked a little bit too much about the Rainbow Gathering, but I think it's very important because it was a beautiful, loving democracy within our democracy that was working like a true democracy should, and it was policed this year for the very first time. So if you want to find out about Rainbow, World Rainbow, where do you go, Maji? Where do you go, Magi?
No, World Rainbow Gatherings. Regionals are great. The regional gatherings are small, tight. The federal don't go to the regionals.
How do you participate? You go to rainbowfamily.com?
Just go to any, just type rainbow in. Rainbow in maybe Facebook groups. There's many rainbow groups. There's G-Funk Theater. There's Instant Soup Kitchen. There's all these things, you know. And
Rainbow Gathering Facebook groups, Rainbow Gathering. Is there any Rainbow Gathering website?
Yeah, there's not one. There's a whole bunch. I have a personal rainbow site called Rainbow Gatherings 50 Years and Beyond, and I'm the only facilitator. So the reason I get it is because people were trying to come and sell stuff and hey, look at this
currency thing.
Money. Yeah. Oh, I'm out of money. Give me money. No, it's not about.
Oh,
that.
We get that all the time. All the time,
no,
especially on
it's
Twitter.
About giving. If you go to Rainbow and you're a taker, a maker, a forsaker, you don't do it. Now I'm going to jump off a subject called love. These beautiful. Remember how I started? Where I come from? The womb of my mother. We men had a great idea. These European men. They went, hey, let's make God in the image of a male, and say that females come from our rib. So we have dominion over them. Where Asia had yin yang, Shiva Shakti, masculine, feminine. We created this male, and they're trying to convince people that God, the creator of the universe, is a man. But look, every single mammal, every animal, every insect comes from females. Every flower comes from females. The marijuana females give you the best high, not the males.
Yeah.
And guess
when
what
they ask me, I come from stardust because we all come from supernovas. So
okay, that's my next. Wait till this next thing on cells and atoms. This will blow your mind. But let me finish this thought.
This was my next question. What blows your fucking mind? So go ahead.
The first cell that comes together is a female gamete, an egg, that's in our mother as an egg inside our grandmother when our grandmother's born. And then when the eggs start dropping with the moon, 13, 14, 12, whenever it starts dropping, the egg drops unfertilized. But when the gamete, which is 99.9999% X, 100% RNA, 50% DNA, it's not a cell yet. It's a gamete. And then when dad literally enters our life 9 months before we're born, we boys got the Y swimmer.
Yep.
If we got the X swimmer, you'd be a girl. And if you got a Z swimmer, you'd be a trans. That's a joke, that last one. But
what's kind of true though? Is that
no? The eggs only carry XX,
X and Y?
The sperm carries XY. No,
so
sperm
somewhere in the
XY,
genetic code,
and egg carries XX.
How does that happen?
So the zygote is the first cell. Then it doubles. Then it triples. In an average adult male, Google what I'm going to say, everybody. 37 trillion cells in a male's body. 37. 28 trillion cells in a woman's body because they're smaller. But here's the key. Every cell has 100,000 trillion atoms that are beginning and no beginning, no end. That are years. Our cells only last 7 years. When you're 7 years old, you don't have any cells you had when you were born. When you're 14, you don't have. That's why in relationships, they call it the 7-year itch. because every 7 years in a relationship, you're a brand
You're a
new
completely
person.
new person. You're a completely new piece of
You know?
atomic.
And so here's
or
what I
whatever.
tell young men. I says, if you don't make love, take love, forsake love, need love, want love, desire love, because even when you have it, you're looking over the shoulder for something better. What you do to this woman man, you give to her openly, unconditionally, all your love, and you be open what she has to give to you.
And how terrifying is that for so many people? Why is that so scary for so many people?
Because of the macho bullshit thing.
Because some of us are gay and we don't want her to give us the love back. It's like, ew, no.
Well,
go.
what about just the
No,
what
but,
about
but
the, what,
even
what
gay
about
men, even gay masculine men are attracted to gay feminine men. The masculine feminine thing is still going on. Two girls.
Yeah.
There's a masculine girl that likes a feminine girl. Every once in a while they can balance, but every male, every female has both masculine and feminine. You're never in a twosome. You're in a foursome. And you know how you know if your masculine is fighting with your female's masculine? Your partner's masculine, because you're barking at each other. What's your problem? Ah. You know, if your
Yeah.
felines are fighting, you fester. You fester.
Uh,
And then 3 weeks later, when your mate is totally vulnerable, you go, "Grr,"
yeah,
and they fight to the death.
my husband's a dog for sure. So he
Yeah.
barks a lot.
Yeah. There's so much complexity, truthfully, in sexuality, and that would be a fun thing to talk about. But I
Okay,
was
wait. With that
Yeah.
sign, in all complexity, there's a simplicity. In all simplicity, there's a complexity. Yeah.
okay.
It's
So
a
everything that you've just said still relates to a gay relationship, to a woman on woman, to a man on man.
into a man on
Everything you said
woman and a
about
woman on
giving and
man.
loving and knowing yourself fully so that you can give yourself fully to another person.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's
What-
it's about giving and then be open. That's rainbow too. If you go to rainbow to give, rainbow will always live. But if you go to rainbow to take, if you go in a relationship and all you want to take, it eventually is going to dry out.
Yeah. You know, one of the best places to hang out at Rainbow, Tyson, one of the best camps, because they have all these camps from different parts of the country, right? You got the New Yorkers, and people tend to tribe up. It's tribal, you know. But there's the fairy camp, and the fairy camp is one of the most fantastic, fun places to be. It's the gay camp, you know, the LGBT.
Well,
camp.
when you said fairy, I kind of figured. So
yeah. It's fantastic, man.
nice.
It's the best place to hang out. It's fun. It's got the most.
And they're not judged.
Nobody's
Right,
judged
not
at Rainbow. And I wish society was more like it, but I want to get off of Rainbow a little bit. So back to this war idea. Do soldiers in any war deserve respect?
Well, if you're a Nazi soldier, if you're a soldier invading another country, it's very hard. If I felt really bad in Vietnam when I found out the Vietnamese fought for us. Now, in 1977, when I was 28 years old, I hitchhiked on the first Freddie Laker flight for $99 to London. Then I hitchhiked on transports all the way across France, all the way across Italy, all the way across Greece, all the way across Turkey, all the way across Iran when the Shah was there and everybody was throwing shoes and spitting on his picture. And that was when Jimmy Carter said he's a great guy. He's going to stay for, and then the Europeans told Carter, don't let Khomeini go back to Iran. And he let him go back because he says, we have no right to tell them not to. But when they did, the students took over the embassy. And I was
the Iranian hostage crisis.
Right. Yeah. I went through Afghanistan when the Russians were there, but I dressed like an Afghani. And the Taliban was our friends, especially when they found out, because when they would talk to me, I would go like I'm deaf and dumb,
How crazy is that that's the world? Like you go back and you watch Rambo. We're fighting with the Taliban to get rid of the Russians, and then
we gave We gave the Taliban guns to kill the Russians. Now the Russians gave the Taliban guns to kill the Americans. What goes around comes around.
Do you know that
What's that all about? Oil and
JFK
drugs?
wanted to end wars,
Yes,
and when
that's why he
he
was killed.
died on November 22nd, 1963, President Baines
Johnson.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, reversed course on Kennedy's decision,
Right.
and after that, Vietnam started for real.
Yeah, a million people. There was only a handful. Kennedy was going to pull out. Kennedy was going to pull out after the next election, and that's what killed him. It was the mafia who was pissed off that he didn't invade Cuba, you know, and Eisenhower.
Maybe the CIA was a little bit involved. Maybe I think that
so, why do we why is this you know, as a species, why have we done this for so long? I started the question with, is there any soldier in war that deserves respect? I think the answer was yes, if you're not invading another sovereign place.
Right.
Or killing your own people like the Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
or committing genocide.
Listen, this is true. You can Google this. The Vietnamese fought a 1,000-year war with China. China invaded Vietnam, but the Vietnamese never spoke Chinese. They stayed Buddhist. They fought them for 1,000 years, and eventually China had to leave. And then the French came in and took it over. And then when Germany crossed into France, the French didn't want their beautiful Paris to be blown up, so they surrendered. And they had an Axis agreement with Japan and Germany that if anyone declares war on either, the other person will declare war on them. So Germany gave Japan all the French possessions in Asia. So all of a sudden, the French flag went down and the Japanese flag went out. Well, America bonded with Ho Chi Minh and gave Ho Chi Minh guns. You know, Ho Chi Minh, he was kicked out of Vietnam in 1912. You know where he lived? Boston. He was a Park Square porter, and he liked the Red Sox. And when I read his book, when I read the story, I go, how are we blowing him up? He was a Red Sox fan. I mean, if he was a Yankee fan, maybe.
Oh, it is men, isn't it? It is men. We can get angry enough over a baseball team to beat the shit and kill each other. We can get angry.
Listen to this though. Listen to this.
Well, if we put women in charge of government, would that solve the issue? Would there be no war? Do you believe
Thomas
that?
Paine wanted women to be able to vote, but the George Washington, all the founding fathers says no. You know, we got to protect them. You know, the men would go in the smoking room, but they knew it was bad. But they go in the smoking room, and the girls would go in the sewing room. Mm-hmm. Women weren't even allowed to smoke in public. But Mae West did it. Betty Davis did it. You know, what started a break.
See me sometime.
Yeah, you know, and all this stuff was really. But I tell every man, okay, man to man, how different would it be if when we're 13 years old, we bled from our penis? Period. I mean, we would have freaking touched that thing. And if we kissed girls and we got impregnated like the male seahorse does, you know, the male seahorse is this big. The female seahorse is this big. But she has the projectile. The male has the hole. She puts the babies into the male and he does it inside himself. But he's so big, and when the babies are already full, he just pops them out, hundreds and hundreds of them. But you know what the female does? Hunts and fishes for him, but has a string of males.
And working for her?
Yeah, you know.
Why doesn't it work like that? I mean,
it's different because, okay, so if men had to go through what women had to go through, I think there'd be a lot more empathy, a lot more sympathy, a lot less control over their body, a lot less. I mean, and by the way, it's been proven forever they wanted to keep women out of combat situations. Well, for the last 10 years, women have been allowed in combat situations. You know what works? You get a woman who's really pissed off, you give her a gun, she's better than most men are in combat situations. Can you
Yeah, the
believe that?
Israelis found that out. The Israelis
Yeah.
found that out in 1940s and 50s. You know, the women
They have
fighters.
a bigger pain threshold. They're usually more intelligent. They're more empathetic. They're more motherly. What is it with our sex?
Hell hath no fury
do
like a
you-
woman with an
With
AK-47.
an AK-47.
Now you know about the
But
Vikings.
that's a real question, though. Do you think if
Okay.
women, if women could take over and we could stop this patriarchal bullshit, patriarchal male god thing, and we let women run the show, do you think war would still be an issue?
Any woman that tries to run America has to deal with embedded male misogyny. What you know what this Musk did? He went to young blacks, young whites, young Hispanics, young Asians, and he played the bro card. Rogan played the bro card. And Kamala had bigger crowds, but she didn't play the bro card. She didn't go after the young males. She didn't try to reach out to them. And I saw that. It was like a lot of females, but these young males were getting pissed off, seeing all these females, seeing all these stuff. And it was an anger thing. Scared that women are going to take over, demasculating them. No, you know the Viking. The Vikings were raided, traders, settlers, but the Viking women ran this society until when Christianity took over, and then the women were burnt. The women were attacked, being pagan.
Until the
were
Vikings
Yeah.
took on Christianity. The Vikings at some point went
12 to 1400 AD, they became Christians. But in 900 AD, they were in North America, 500 years before Christopher Columbus. They made it all the way down the Mississippi River into Missouri. There's ruins there. You know?
We are, Manu, we're at the top of the hour, and we have some callers lined up.
All right, cool.
Let me
I have two more questions, and then we'll take callers.
All right. Okay.
Maji, give us a quick idea of what you think the nature of reality is. What are we doing here? What is this place?
In order to be real, one needs to be able to feel and deal with what's coming down by being found in the magic sound, your own, your spirit, your soul, that there's no one alive like you. No one's equal to me. We're unique. I can't do Shakespeare, but Shakespeare couldn't touch me. We're all beautiful beings of light, and we need to feed this joyous love, light. This has to come back. And we need, look, the unicorn.
I got my little teddy. You know what? You're never too old for a stuffed animal, are you? You're never too old for a stuffed animal. Never too old.
You know what a unicorn with two horns is called?
What?
A biacorn. If it has 3 horns, it's a triacorn. If it has 4 horns, it's a quartercorn, which is a very horny unicorn.
I thought if it had 2 horns, it was a goat. But all right, I'll take that.
Oh. Okay, so we're here to experience the lower natures and learn from them. Is that what you think?
By raising women back to their position. Our name used to be man womb. But then man made up God in the image of man and said that God is a male, a white old male sitting on a throne someplace out there. No, he's not. You know, that's the end that women
Universe. There's
the
universe.
Women don't come from a woman. We come into women. Make babies.
Yeah. I think
But
if anything, God is much more interesting than just male and feminine. It must be much more than that.
The Asians have it right. The yin yang, the Shiva Shakti, the divine masculine, divine feminine in all of us. And that's what I do. I say this over and over again. I've never had sex with a woman. I'm 75. I made love. In a beautiful love. I look in their eyes, their heart, not their body parts. They're going to change, but their heart and give. But here's the problem. I tell them, don't fall in love with me. You fail. If you make me the source of your love, you're going to make me the source of your hate. Instead, rise, love in. If your love's within, you're never going to be without.
No doubt. No
Nice.
doubt. I like it. Okay, so what are a few of your favorite words?
I dare you
I
to
am
say
right.
Trump.
No, I am right. You're right in point of view. I have a right to my right, my truth, my point of view. You have a right to your truth, your point of view. And as long as we can disagree respectfully, and
Yes.
you're right for you, and I'm right for me, two rights don't make a wrong. But when you say I'm right and you're wrong, that's where we start fighting. I love God, but I hate everyone that don't love God exactly like me. I love
Yep,
sexuality, but only if you love women or men like I love women or men. But otherwise, you don't really know. No, you're right for you. I'm right for me. Two rights don't make a wrong. So I say that all the time. And I say, don't ever fall in love. Rise love in.
Rise,
And
love in.
when
I
you
like that.
want a partner in your life, give, and be open to receive what they have to give you. But if you make them, take them, need them, want and desire them, you're going to drive them away. Or you're going to be thinking something's better.
Major, I've got a question that I've always wondered. We have Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhist, etc. And it seems like throughout time immemorial, these religious tribes have been fighting each other. Why isn't it possible for them to just say, hey, you love your God the way you love your God, I'll love my God the way I love my God, and let's live in peace and harmony? Why
Okay,
is that so hard?
there is a difference between Buddhism and Christianity, Islam, and Abrahamic religions. Abrahamic religions. Abraham was against the Persian idea of a male God, was against the Greek idea of a male God. Abraham's God was this exact. And ask a rabbi, the allness and the oneness of the wholeness. But then Moses, who was raised by Egyptians, is the one that brought the male God concept into Judaism. And eventually it came into Christianity. And eventually it came into Islam. And the whole male thing is to dominate. But what I try to tell people, research. Do you know that Muhammad allowed women in 600, 500 AD, 700 AD to divorce a man that abused her? Christians, the Catholic Church just recently allowed women to divorce an abusive relationship. Women were honored. The belly dancer was honored. It wasn't sexual. It was a way for women to help them get through childbirth. It wasn't to be erotic to seduce men. But men are the creeps that made this. Like in the Bible, it says like, oh, David was seduced. No, David opened the window and was watching the women unclothe herself, and then they say, oh, she was tempting him. No, it was him. You know,
the whole idea of original sin came from the girl, the
yeah.
devil.
Oh, I love this one.
Bitch had to have the apple, right?
Yeah,
she had. No, God said, have everything here, but don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So you tell your teenage kid, your 13-year-old teenage kid, have anything in the house, but don't go in my liquor cabinet. What is the first thing they're going to do?
I smoked my dad's joint when I was 7 years old, and he took off. I went, I'm going to have a puff of that.
Yeah, it's funny that when you're 13, 14, 15 years old, you sneak out of the house to go to a party, and then when you're our age, you sneak out of a party to go home.
To go home.
And I tell you gotta stop this age thing. That you're older. We're earlier memories.
Earlier.
I mean, can you imagine? Listen to this: Janis Joplin dead at 27. Jimi Hendrix dead at 27. You know how old they'd be right now? 83.
Wow.
And 82 They'd be in their 80s. Can you imagine Jimi Hendrix, 83? I mean, oh God, I miss that. I'm sure Janis Joplin would have came to Rainbow.
Well, there's all these beautiful people and musicians and artists in my generation too that you may not know the names of that burned so bright and so beautifully. And what's up with that? That's my last question, is what's up with all the 27, the 25, the kids that burn so bright and beautiful dying so young? What's that about?
It has to do with fame and fortune as a double-edged sword. And I could have been famous. You ever seen the movie Sunday Bloody Sunday with Glenda Jackson and Peter Finch? It was a young cowboy in his 20s. I was being casted for that. This picture. I was being casted for that part.
You look like a cowboy. Yeah, I can see
No,
that.
Yeah.
they really wanted me, but you know what happened? We were supposed to meet on Saturday, but Friday night I met this hippie chick, tripped on acid in 4 days. Had made sweet love to her up in the valley, and it came too. Oh, wait a minute! Are you supposed to have it? And I got blacklisted. They blacklisted me, But I ended up going to Miami. I worked on the last 3 years of Miami Vice. I worked on the Last of the Mohegans. I was in the background. I worked as Jack Nicholson's double in Witches of Eastwick.
That must have been fun.
Oh yeah. He's such a jerk, but I liked Cher. Cher was flown back to do that scene. You remember that scene where she was the last witch?
Thank you for auto-tune.
Right. She was leaving and he was up, he was this big. And he was, if you see the movie, it's me doing it because he was at a Lakers Celtics game and she was so pissed off that he didn't come to do that scene with her. And that hate, when she does hate, that was not an act.
So come back to it. So come back to the point. The hate was it that I think you were going along the lines of, why do these young kids die? Fame is a double-edged sword. Why?
Double-edged sword. And if I got
it almost killed me. So I have an idea.
If I got the Academy Award, I would have hung out with the starlets that would have wiped
you and Belushi just doing fucking blow and fucking.
Yeah, I would have been dead. I would have been dead. I would have died many years ago. There wouldn't be a glowing feather. There wouldn't be that. But I did it right because I've got 5 stories not to be done till my death because I live. And I want you to tell this. When I die, you're going to outlive me. And when I die, I want you to spread this news and go, if you loved Glowing Feather the Maji, and you have this beautiful man in your life, make a baby, and just like Buddha, ask Glowing Feather to come in, because I'm going to come into a rainbow mother as a little girl and raise heaven.
Hey, we're back.
And
no
10
idea.
years after I'm dead, you're going to see this little girl. You're going to be in your 70s, 60s. You're going to see this little girl going, life is beautiful. Life is fun. You're going to go, Maji, you come back.
Oh, I know you're coming back. For instance, I'm almost positive of that. I know we're all coming back. There's no way you can learn enough in one lifetime to get to graduate. Anyway, okay. So I have so many more questions for you. We'll have to do another show, but we do have a lot of people that want to ask you some questions. So let's
come on.
And the first one's going to be a girl. It's going to be Mala.
Hey, we're going to let a woman speak. Good idea.
The womb of man. The womb of
man. The womb of man.
Hello.
Hello, wonderful.
Yes, we have Mala first. Mala, go ahead.
I love the Maji. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I pronounce it Maji. The A and the I.
Apologize.
No, that's it. What's your birth name?
Oh, I don't share that online. Mala.
Okay.
I've always been called Mala.
So Mala, you'd be Melee if your age was strong.
Well, actually, in Italian, it means like female demon child, and it suits me perfectly. And in Spanish, it means like bad girl. So that's my.
Demons are misunderstood.
Remember what she said? When I'm good, I'm bad, and when I'm bad, I'm better.
Right? Absolutely. 100.
So what's your quest? Your question? to the Magi.
Oh, I just wanted to hear more poetry. I love your poetry.
Okay. Now
Give
here's
him a, give
I'm
him
going to
a,
do
give.
something for you.
Right.
Give me a subject that you think a lot about when you sleep, when you wake up, you dream. It could be heavy, it could be light, it could be beautiful, it could be ugly. Whatever, something. If you were climbed a mountain, there was this high holy on top of a mountain. It took you 5 days to get there, and you're cold and you're beaten. And there's this person that's sitting in the light, and you have a quest. What is that quest? What is your question?
To
What is
fight oppression in all its forms.
oppression? Depression. My impression is self-made. Instead, to get out of oppression is stop being oppressed. Be pulled to the light.
Huh? Love
Be
it.
in the light of your love, not in the darkness. The only way to conquer fear is with joy and happiness. Right now, I had a hernia operation 3 weeks ago. I'm in agony right now. I'm hurt. I'm so hurt. And it hurts me. But guess what? I don't call it pain. I call it discomfort. And talking to you makes me comfortable. Driving my car makes me comfortable because pain is a game. You know what pain is? Pain is what happened in Ukraine when what happened in Gaza when the mother's picking up their dead child. You know, this pain is in Valdez, Texas. You send your 6-year-old to school and comes back dead. That pain is going to be with you your whole life. It destroys people. And you know what the only way they get out of the pain? Addictions, drugs or alcohol. And you
And
never
that
get
leads
over
to
it.
death and institutions of death.
Yeah. So here's what you do. The next time you get tense, the next time you feel frustrated, you do this. You go,
I'll scream, "Holy Magi!
Yeah.
Holy
You know,
Magi!"
I think, all right. So I was going to bring up Gandhi earlier tonight because do you know anything about the history of Gandhi, Glowing Feather?
yes. Born in India, but went to South Africa and worked in South Africa in apartheid system and came back to British India. And his big thing was stop buying English clothes. Grow your own clothes. Make cotton thread. And that was the revolution. Shut down the factories in England.
Is
And they did.
is the little bit of history for dummies like me that don't know a lot about anything? I love myself, but I'm truthfully uneducated. Is it true
you
that
got-
Gandhi won the war by pacifism and peace?
It is.
Yeah, when the British, what you don't understand, the British left India right after they left Israel. Hotel David in Jerusalem was blown up by Jewish radicals. And the British hated the Jews, just like they hated the Indian people. They wanted their empire. So what they did is they gave guns to Syria, they gave guns to Lebanon, they gave guns to the Palestinians to fight. And American Jews gave guns to the Jewish nation, and they won. Well, in India, the same thing happened. What they did is the British gave guns to the Pakistanis, to the Muslims, and saying, no, the Hindus are going to wipe you out. And they had this terrible war, 18 months, where millions of people died. And they didn't die in gas chambers. They were hatched to death. They were thrown off trains, and people were killing babies. I mean, the most inhumane thing. And it was men doing it, not women. And it was a very violent. But you know what Gandhi did? He went into a Muslim neighborhood and he fasted. He was going to fast to death until they stopped fighting. And they stopped fighting.
Did he get the people to do the same? Was it a mass movement of people?
It was no, he went on a hunger strike and he was going to die in Calcutta in a Muslim neighborhood until the last thing. And if you saw the movie, this Muslim came over and begged him to eat, that I hated Hindus, but I want you to eat. But then he was killed. He was killed by a Hindu because they thought that he was too much, whatever. And the last thing he said is, oh my God, that was his last words, and he passed. but you know, he will always remain this man of peace and love and nonviolence. And I've had guns pointed at my head
Yeah, me
just
too.
one time, and I just got out of the Navy. I went to see a Grateful Dead concert at the Fillmore, which was the Black District in San Francisco, and I was too proud to beg for money. And I was walking. In those days, I was like considered a Jesus freak. I had Jesus, walking with Jesus, you know, and just being light and loving and dancing. And all of a sudden, my heart beat, and this big black man came out of the shadows, grabbed me, put me in the shadows, put a gun to my head. And I looked at him like this. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you. And I could see the fear in his eyes. And he goes, well, I can kill you. And I go, no, you can't. All you can do is press a bullet, and my brain will come all over you and all over the floor. But then I'm going to be with my Father in heaven. But I don't think he's going to be very happy with you.
That would do
And he
it.
goes,
So really,
"You got
that's
any
it,
money?"
right?
He
It's-
goes,
it's
you got any
mass-
money? And I go, man, I spent it all on drugs. He goes, oh, you got any drugs? I go, no, I did them all.
Oh Lord.
So that's oppression. We all just have to smile through it and say, arrest
Yes,
us all.
you
Arrest us
can't
all.
be oppressed, depressed. You got to find the light in you. In your darkest moment, you're the strongest. Relationships that never fight, year in, year out. All of a sudden, they have this big fight and it's over. But those
That's
who know
another
how
thing
to
I
fight,
wanted to talk about is the justice system, how we improve the justice system. How do we not be oppressed? It's tough. It's a tough
Giga
answer. Really
Duncanson
tough
We
Fry
answer.
have to
is
stand up
is
to it.
in German. There's a word.
Because-
There's a phrase. Die Gedanken frei. It means my thoughts are free. You can put me in chains. You can oppress me, but you will never own my mind or my body or my spirit or my soul. That can never be chained. It can never be jailed. It can never be. Die Gedanken frei. My thoughts are free.
remember in apartheid, that South African man that was put in jail for years and years and years?
Nelson
Mandela?
Mandela.
Oh yeah.
You mean the
And he
one that
comes
got
back.
out?
Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela.
He comes back and he
As the
creates
president.
Beautiful,
He becomes the
beautiful
president.
words. Yeah, and beautiful words that he wrote on his jail cell wall. If you want to Google that.
you know, his people underneath him end up creating dictatorship, kind of oppression to all those that weren't them. You know what most people don't know? Do you know that Haiti was the first black independent country in the world before any African country got independence? And you know how they did it? They beat the biggest army on the face of this earth, the French Napoleon, 2 battalions. And what they did is they mass murdered every single French person on the island. But that was bad. You know, the leader didn't want them to kill them. They want them to, you know, have the French people to help them build their nation. But they were mass murdered. And since then, they've had nothing but mostly dictatorship. Now, if you remember your history, Aristide won the presidency, but then Papa Doc took over. Papa Doc Jr. took over, and he was kicked out. And Aristide took 100 of his people, 80 of his kids to Boston. And Dukakis had me teach these kids. In 6 months, these kids were doing better than the American black kids. But I taught them the proper English. Akaka. Bada is better.
That Boston English.
I did that in 77 to 81 in India, where I worked with Raja Gandhi, and I helped teach these women, girls, and I taught them to teach their grandparents and parents and their little sisters and brothers the proper English.
So
if you have anyone from India goes, butter is better. They came from Kerala. From me.
So we've got a lot of work to do, right? I mean,
Yes.
It sounds to me like everything is backwards. Like the whole world has been flipped on its side. There was a quote that I read from some CIA director in the 1970s that said, when our disinformation program is complete, everything the American public believes to be true will be a lie.
Right.
And I think we're very close to that place. And
We are.
So I'm wondering, I just dig that you're reversing everything to the
Right.
truth.
Go to my video that I just published.
Rise in love instead of fall in love.
Right.
I like this idea also of
No, not rise in love. Rise love in.
Womb in man. Rise love in. Womb in man instead of man
Woman
in womb.
and we're man of womb. But
Man of
listen,
womb.
there's a great book and a great narrator. It's called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran,
Oh yeah.
narrated by Richard Harris.
Oh, I love
Go
it.
to YouTube and do
And
it. It's
listen to it?
46 minutes. It will blow your mind.
I read The
It's
Prophet when I was 20, but I haven't heard it read, so I'll do that by Richard Harris.
Richard Harris. It's on my website, but it's also on the I think I sent it to you. But do it. Hey,
Yeah, I will.
goddess, beautiful woman of man. Stay in the light of your love and the love of your light. And you're not always right, but you're never wrong. Singing your heart song, living your life love dance.
I love you, Magi.
Yeah. The you and I verse. The you and I verse. What's the thing about intimacy?
Into me, I see.
Into me, I see. That's beautiful. All right. So next we have, thank you, Mala.
Big love.
Thank you, Mala.
Next we have Catie.
Catie, what's your question for the Magi?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, I just want to say I adore your teddy. Your little teddy
Okay.
bear, I love it. I love teddies. I have my own little rainbow kitty and my rainbow bear, but I have like over 100, and I absolutely adore them.
And my unicorn. My unicorn too.
I love when pagans and witchcraft and positivity meets capitalism. You end up with rainbow dolls. I love it.
Oh yeah, we love the rainbow. I've got a rainbow hand fan over there as well. But no, one question that I have for you. First of all, I'm sending you lots of healing.
Thank you.
Lots and lots of healing.
I feel it.
One question that I would like to ask you is, you are a being of pure light. You really are, and such love. And I was just wondering what you think about the direction humanity is going. Because we used to be humane. And like way back when, we used to come together and help our fellow man, and somehow humanity has seemed to have forgotten that.
Tribals were, but I tell you, this civilization, every major civilization is based on exploitation. And the one who has the most weapons, the most technology, enslaves through economic or through just chains, the slave, the masses. What we need to get back to 10,000 years ago, we need to get back to the farms, to the people working together and having harmony. You know, the first drum circles, they would ask other tribes to come because they knew having babies from their sisters and cousins wasn't making good babies. So they wanted to change the blood and bring people together. So what happened is these humans created language, then culture, then religion. And then these men control the religion. Let's throw a virgin into a volcano to feed the gods, you know?
Yeah, because you know that solves everything.
Yeah, that was
It
going
pretty
on.
much does. As soon as we started as men, as soon as men started using religion as a weapon, the Bible that was turned into a weapon. It's been pretty fucked up ever since then. But it was fucked up before then. There was war before the Bible. Yeah. There was war before Christianity. There was war back in the
you could be sitting there making your farm, and all of a sudden all these Huns come over the hill and rape and pillage and murder everybody, you know? I mean, but see, they can kill me, but they can't kill my spirit.
No.
They can.
Do you think that war might be it might just be something that always is? Or do you think it's something that we might grow out
there is
of?
going to be a third world war eventually that's going to go nuclear, but the fourth war is going to be fought with sticks and stones. It's going to just take us back. It may be 5 to 10% of the population is going to be living in the southern hemisphere. My farm doesn't get any northern hemisphere. We get it all flowing from the south. It's different. It doesn't flow west to east. It flows east to west. And everything south of Costa Rica, South America, there's very few nuclear weapons. India has some, but they're north. I mean, India is more north than Costa Rica. South Africa is south. And there might be one or two there, but the big stuff up here, and it's not this. It's biological weapons. It's all these crazy things. Let's kill everybody. But to me, they can't kill everybody. All they're going to do is destroy this so-called civilization. And my thing is this: there's nothing civil about the lies of nations. What we got to do, get back into, I'm not equal to you. I'm unique and you're unique. I hold you in the highest light and you hold me in the highest light. Then we're always going to be in the light of insight.
So choose light.
Yeah. You can kill me, but all it means is I'm not going to eat and shit anymore, but I'm going to come back as a little baby sucking on a nice, gorgeous breast.
I love you. I love you so much.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
Positive. And I must admit, if the atheists are right and there's nothing, what the fuck do I lose having?
You don't lose anything.
What do I lose having faith and hope?
Yeah.
Joy.
And one of my favorite things in life is sleep when I turn off. So if it's just nothing, hey, wonderful. If it's dreams,
I would give anything
wonderful.
for sleep.
Yeah. It's a
What is sleep?
so
last thing, really good. We are made of atoms and cells. I said that before, but and you may not have heard it, Dale. 37 trillion cells in a human body. But it all started with one cell. But every cell has 100 trillion atoms that have no beginning, have no end. That's what I'm talking about.
So what do the atoms do? They recycle themselves? What do they do?
No, the atoms, the cells born and die, but the atoms keep going and merge and change and vibration. But the Hadron Collider, they moved it with magnetics, not propulsion. 0.7 this way, 0.7 this way. They collided them and found a minuscule black hole holding the cell together. They call it the Higgs boson, but the nickname is called the God particle.
God particle.
And I call it the God-us particle. GODUS. The God-us particle. And that we go into the light. Trillions, hundreds of trillions of atoms we go into, and we spread out to hundreds of trillions of beings, not just one.
Yeah, right on. It proved the multiverse is what you're saying. It proved the quantum field.
Yeah.
I mean, the Higgs
Nothing
boson
is not only something, it's mostly everything.
Did the Higgs boson actually prove some kind of field? What did it prove? The God.
Yes, it proved that they never knew there was a black hole inside an atom. They thought that the atom center was basically the neutron, but when they moved it that fast, it was just a millisecond that it happened in the clash, and then it disappeared. It was a minuscule black hole. And that's where light goes. We all go into that beautiful hole and become whole. Allness and the oneness of the wholeness. Woo.
What's on the other side of the hole?
We're gonna find out soon.
We're gonna find out soon enough, right? We're headed towards it. Or one of them. Okay, Catie, love you. Thanks for your question.
Hey, Catie, one last thing. Catie, give me a subject. Give me a heart song that I can share with you. Something you think a lot about. Something nice or happy, something that's very intense for you. But give me a subject.
Crystals.
Crystallization, vibration, you see, is a sensation, a revelation without hesitation. And you see, we all are crystalline entities. We all have this reflection, this knowledge we know that we have a crystallized soul.
Oh my God, I love that. Thank you so much.
Now you could do this. Tonight, just allow the words to flow through you. If you need help, get the rhyming dictionary. and just read it from cover to cover and get all the play, say words and put them down, then make words before that. And just find that beautiful, spontaneous combustion in you. What I do, I have the same energy as Mork, as Robin Williams. I'm a spontaneous
Mork.
combustion. We're very similar. We're brothers in that spirit. He could just take any word and go off. and you could do it too. You do it your style.
I got one
like
for you.
Poetry that is more love and light rather than doom and gloom, because all my poetry is quite dark and deep.
Yeah, what is it? I have the same problem. You know, I like to speak, but you know, poetry is beautiful because it can be about anything, and it can, and the darkness is just as true as the light, and pain and suffering have a point, believe it or not.
But turn it around. Do the pain and suffering, but then make it beautiful. That's the whole Christ story. That he was beat, he was destroyed, but he came into the light and spread the word. You know, so Buddha is different. Buddha was anti-religious, but they made a religion around him. His last words, he was in his 80s. See, I'm on the Buddha diet. I'm watching my weight. And he stood there and he goes, is there a Buddha amongst you? If there is, kill me and liberate me. But no one did it. So he went under the Bodhi tree and he meditated himself to death. And then he came back and a little boy. He was a little boy.
He just keeps coming back, right?
Keeps coming back.
Yeah, I think
Dalai Lama, you know?
Maybe not to this Earth. Maybe there's quantum millions of them like the little black hole says there is.
So
okay, who do we have left? Yes. You're going to do a heart song for me before we go. Who's the next person? Donald Trump.
You have Donald J. Trump. Hello, Zach.
Right. Let's see what Donald.
Howdy.
Hey Donald.
I'm the president. How you doing? First off, I'd like to say, I mean, it's hot. But first off, I'd like to say, I don't think I've smiled so much in one setting. It ain't even funny.
No,
it is funny, but it
that's
isn't.
why I want to introduce Glowing Feather to my.
And when Manu saw me, when he was like a 6-7-year-old, I would go to the kids and go la 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 la. And Manu, you remember my son, Mikan?
Yeah.
He's in California. He's one of the DJs. He has a big thing at Burning Man. His name is Mikan Maji. You know, he has a big. He got his own little thing there. He's got a whole following.
Send me some links. Send me some tunes. I love I love your T-shirt, Donald.
Yeah. What does it say?
Ungovernable, and there's a big
ungovernable.
/ be ungovernable. I love it.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna appoint the Magi here to my cabinet, and we're gonna just become ungovernable.
I'm with you. I want to join the parade. I just wonder how when the justice system comes after one of us, what bums me out is a lot of it's really hard to get assistance when they come hard and they come.
We all have to be Mandelas. We all have to be Mandelas. Yeah, we can't fear prison. Hey, they're going to feed us, clothe us, house us, you know, and we sit around. You know what I did when I got pulled in at the I was one of these military people that went as to Washington against the war and threw my medals. I threw all my medals away, and I've never taken any veterans benefits. And then they put us at the RFK, the stadium. You know, we all were pushed into the stadium, and then we were put in cells, and I was doing this. Yeah, here's some ear acid. Here, let's smoke some ear joints. And the cops are coming. They were hearing people getting high, coughing. We're going, yeah, this is good shit. And they were looking, no smoke. And we're getting high. The I imagine nation is the greatest nation on the face of this earth. Keep it strong. We
probably have to get rid of the nation state completely for things to actually.
Yeah, there's humanity. Here's my acronym of humanity: human, unlimited manifestations, a network individually transforming you. HUMANITY. Humanity. Earth. Everyone, attention. Remember the home.
Start planting shit, man. Let's all move to farms and start planting shit.
Get
Taking
out of
care
their
each other. Get the
game.
fuck
Get
out of the
out of
game.
their game. Get out of the
Their game sucks.
Taco Tuesday. Get out of, having to work for someone who's going to enslave you. Get out of the best technology one could have. You know what these little children are going to want? They're going to go, I don't want a stupid cell phone. I want an implant. And they're going to walk around all day doing this. Playing video games, talking to their friends, and they're going to get run over by cars,
Yeah. I don't know what to think about tech either. I don't know. Donald, did you have another question? Because I got one.
I guess to stay on that topic, I mean, do you think that society as a whole would be better off if we gravitated more locally with one another rather than thinking big?
That was our 60s strength. We started to do these things called food co-ops. We started to do these things with farms coming together. We started to do these things coming together. That is the thing to do. You gotta not sit on your ass sets. You gotta work for you. You gotta have skills. The more skills you have, the more opportunity you have. I was a middle school specialist. I worked for the superintendent. Nobody knew. The principal, the vice principal, nobody knew that I was a spy for the superintendent. He put me in the worst academic schools. 9 out of 10 of those schools' biggest problems were this: fatherless homes, single mother raising the kids, not having dinners. Families that had dinners, the kids did better socially, better academically. It was just like night and day. And I would go to these boys and girls, 12, 13 years old, 14 years. I go, listen, you girls mature faster than the boys. And the girls go, yeah. And the boys go, what? I go, yeah, you're playing games and, killing zombies. We're there being seduced by adult stuff, thinking that makes them adult by smoking cigarettes, drinking, party. And I go, no, most likely it's going to make you pregnant. But if you do reading, writing, arithmetic, and science, you're going to have more choices, more income to have an outcome. And that's the key. We got to develop our skills, many skills, art skills, dancing skills, thinking skills, writing skills, quantum skills. You got this beautiful thing called Google where you can ask any question and it got tons of stuff that will come to you. Then you can look at deep stuff and you got the encyclopedias all at the touch of a finger. I used to have to go to library.
To all this information, and yet still the most, what I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, Maji, Magi, be positive. I think the dumbest people in the history of mankind are living right.
I don't use the word dumb. I use the word ignorant. Ignorance.
Or
if
lazy.
you ignore something, you're ignorant of it. You're not stupid. You're ignorant.
You're ignorant.
And here's the problem with ignorance. They're fucking very arrogant about their ignorance. The world's flat. The world's flat. I go, yeah, go out in the ocean where you don't see any land. You can see a freaking circle. Go up in space. You're going to see a circle Earth. I mean, oh no, it's fake. It's but you can't convince them. You know what? You can't convince an arrogant, ignorant person to look how beautiful and unique they are.
I'll give you $1 million to show me the edge of the earth, asshole.
Hey, brother, I want to tell you, I got a good vibe about you, brother. You're young. You're vibrant. Please don't give up constitutional democracy. You young people were seduced by Musk. Young white males, young black males, young Hispanic males were seduced by him, saying that women should never have power. We gotta allow the woman man to come to age. And as a man, we gotta honor, because if somebody asks you where you're from, here's your answer: from my mother's womb. That's where you're from.
Zach,
Your first
Zach,
breath.
Yeah.
Zach
Yeah.
can actually rock those bangs, and I don't know anybody else who can rock bangs.
I was
like
gonna
that,
say the
so-
fucking bowl cut's kicking ass, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I love it.
Ungovernable.
You know, there's no man on earth like you. There's no man like me. I can't do you. You can't do me. But here's what we can do: love and respect and honor each other.
So
That's
back to
beautiful.
basics, back to
Yeah.
community.
And when I
Local
die
community.
and you're ready to have a baby, just ask me to come into your life and you'll be my daddy.
I'm down.
You know what? I actually saw
I'll-
this. I'm gonna share this lovely hallucinogenic experience this old lady had. I saw in a documentary. So
Okay.
they're starting to treat people with psilocybin that are near death experiences, and they've undemonized the hallucinogenic world, which thank, because that was so stupid of
Yeah, it was
drug
so
war.
stupid.
So anyway, they are doing this. They gave this Christian lady that was dying of cancer a bunch of mushrooms in one of the recent experiments, and her trip, which she made very Christian, but I still thought it was beautiful. She said she saw this big dark wave crashing in on her. And what they do is they put you in like a mask, and they put ear canceling, sound headphones on you. So you really, your trip is within. It's not out there, right? This woman actually saw herself and saw these dark waves of death coming at her. The black hole was coming at her, right? And it was terrifying, and she was scared of it. And it was, oh no, it's coming. She said, finally, as it got closer and closer, she let go of her fear of it. And she said, you know what? This darkness, this wave, this black hole has something to teach me. And so she dove into it head first. And when she dove into it, she felt her body completely decompose. She felt her spirit leave. She felt her body completely decompose and rot. She felt the maggots eating her, and her shitting out and became dirt. And she felt herself being dirt. And then all of a sudden, in that dirt, she said she found herself being this little seedling, and it grew up into this big tree. And suddenly she had this POV of being this big tree, and underneath her walked her daughter and her daughter's daughter, who she knew was her.
Yes.
And her daughter's daughter reached up and grabbed a leaf off of the tree that was, they were both her
Right.
gene
Genetically.
right? Genetically. And so the Japanese that think all the trees are a spirit, all the land is a spirit, etc., I think they're probably onto something that we are truthfully eternal.
Abraham did that too. It was Moses that turned it all into this Bible, and Moses, the book of Moses and all this stuff. But yes, that's the spirit, all the nature people. But then when all these Christian nations and Muslim nations, what they did is they mass murdered these high-powered women, and they called them witches and evil, and they weren't. They were beings of light, helping people and doing stuff that was.
Well, I have a great hope in this idea of legal hallucinating and clinics that you can go to hallucinate at. And I think that people that are, it was ignorant of me to call people dumb, to call people stupid.
Ayahuasca?
Yeah, ignorant people should take ayahuasca. They should go to these clinics. They should have this experience.
You know about cacao?
Yeah,
you could take a cacao and you could ferment it and drink that fermentation and you trip.
Oh, I didn't know. Really? Is it a strong trip? Is it? Do you actually trip?
Yeah,
it's not.
Did that.
It's not acid. It's not acid, but it's a light delight. It's very bitter, very bitter. You ever heard of the word bittersweet? It's very bitter, but it's sweet.
That is what the Aztecs did. They drank cacao juice. That was the earliest known form of chocolate. Was the drink that the Aztecs made.
Right on.
Using
cacao. Donald, when is your show on? Do you have a live show, or do you have a show that you edit and just what's your channel called?
Yeah. Oh, my channel. It's called The Legacy Right. So
yeah,
it's a lot.
It's Legacy Right.
Yeah.
At The Legacy Right. Check this kid's stuff out. It's good.
You need to do.
Thank you, man. I feel like a kid now that you said kid.
Manu, you have to get with people like
young,
him.
Yeah.
You have to get with these producers that are doing what you're doing and do your own network called Humanity. human unlimited manifestations, a network individually transforming you. Free.
Will you text me that when you go off tonight? I
Yes.
want to remember those words. I like those words.
Mhm.
All right. Donald,
We have some
Zach,
others?
did you have any other questions or comments for the Magi?
No, just thank you. Thank
Good
you.
to see you,
Keep on bringing in the positivity. So I love it. So
Next
and
July,
feel better.
next July, come to Oklahoma to the Rainbow Family of Living Light in Oklahoma, mid-country.
Hey,
I'll
if
try
I
to
come,
make it.
when's your birthday?
February 12th to the 14th. I was born the 12th, but I was supposed to be born the 14th. So I do this 3-day festival.
If any of these folks want to come down to this birthday festival and hang
Here's
out,
what the name is.
can
Earth.
we come?
Yes. Earth
All right.
Rose Farm. I have a
Costa Rica.
farmhouse
Where do we
that
fly
has
into?
8 beds. I have plenty of land. I have 3 big tents on my land. I have plenty of space for people. And what we do is we all put in a pot, a few dollars a day. The less you stay, the more you pay. But the more you stay, the less you pay. But it's dollars. It's not like hundreds of dollars. It's like $10 a day, $15 a day. It was all your food and everything. You know, but if you do like 3 months, it comes down to $4 a day, like 120 a month. But that's all your food, everything. You're on the farm 5 days, 2 days off, 10 days, 4 days off. And you spend 3 hours in the gardens doing your own projects and 2 to 3 hours reading my 100-book library of self-sustainable living. And I'm a professor. I have you read and then give me a paper, what you just read.
When
How
is
is
this
it?
when is this festival?
It's February 12th to the 14th.
To celebrate your birthday? Is
Yeah.
it a weekend?
I think it's midweek or something. But you.
Where do we fly into?
San Jose, and I'll give you how you come into San Jose. You take a bus for $1 to Central San Jose. You go to Moosoc. I'll give you that, and it's a about a $6 to $8 bus ride over the Muerte de Camino, the highway to death. You don't want to drive across that highway because mudslides and all this other stuff. But you get to my town 10 miles away called San Isidro del General, also called Perez Zeledon. And then I'm in the mountains. I'm 1 mile from the nearest neighbor. Earth Rose Farm. We're in Facebook groups, YouTube videos, and you can find us on Google Earth.
All right, and you heard that, DT family. February 12th through the 14th, the Magi has invited us. So let's go down there and say hello.
And we got, I do full moon gatherings. I take people to the beach. I have all these waterfalls a mile from my land.
Get a shaman to bring some ayahuasca so we can all have a real experience when we get there.
Yeah, the ayahuasca is pretty controlled there, but they all the shamans there are into the money thing. You know, $100 to do this thing. No, I want to find something because I'm not into money. You know, I mean,
especially not on a spirit, not on a hallucinogenic thing. That's not.
Yeah, I'm into a contribution of your time and a few bucks. You know, to help things. Because
I mean, if it was an ayahuasca ceremony that you paid $50 for the plant and for the thing to happen, okay, I understand. But
the shamans, it's a gig now, you know, like, hey, let's do ayahuasca on my farm, charge $100. People will pay. And then it's like controlled.
Yeah, but there's real shamans that know what the fuck they're doing, and there's guys that are just passing drugs out.
My ayahuasca experience was in Brazil.
I'm still
with the Dami people, with the people that all were white, and all the women were on one side, all the men were on the other side, and they looked in your eye and they gave you a little taste. Look in your eye. They looked at my eye and they gave me like this. They knew I was there. I went back. I went back to primitive. I went back to early man that had fur all over me. I mean, it was beautiful.
I've actually smoked DMT with Maji about 15 years ago or something on the side of a creek. It was
I remember that.
We both left our bodies. I remember that. It was fantastic. Anyway, and it's made me a better person. And I don't know about you, but I remember that moment. You were actually like 40 something years old. This was a long time ago. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We were on the side
20?
of the creek. We smoked
35 years ago. I'm 75.
25. I think it was 25 years ago because I think I was 21 or 22. Oh, that's
And
so
25
crazy.
years ago, I was 50.
Yeah, and you were thinking that you were going to die. And I'm on
Yeah.
that same trip right now. I'm 50. I'm getting close to it. And I'm thinking, man, I don't have much time left. And you were tripping on that. And I was like, smoke this DMT. And you came out of that DMT and now you're 77.
No,
whatever.
because guess what?
You're not
Every
dead.
7 years, every cell dies in us, but we're made of atoms. We're all teenagers with 13.7 billion years of experience within the atomic atom being. Hey, there's a new person here. Hi, Dave.
Right on. What's up,
Hey,
Dave?
Maji. I just want to first say I see Maji's unicorn and I raise you a unicorn llama.
Unicorn llama. Hey, kiss.
Oh. I at least have a rainbow, but it's sugar.
I have a rainbow, but I'm a fag, so I just always have it.
Well, see,
Awesome.
my llama's he's a rainbow too.
I'm bisexual. We're the least understood of all of us. I would argue.
Yeah, I don't call it bisexual. I call myself bisexual, omnisexual.
Yeah.
I can
got
make
no
love
problem.
to a tree. I can make love to a cloud. I can make love to a river. I can make love to a waterfall. And
I
get
made love to
totally
a sock just last night.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you were JD Vance, you could make love to a couch. I mean, it's all
What's
there.
wrong with that? I mean, couch potato has a whole different meaning.
Oh Lord.
Oh, I have
Lord.
one of those too. See, I got a stuffed couch potato my grandma made me when I was a kid.
Wow.
But no, saying I kind of popped in because I was curious to Mala mentioned, hey, did Donald J. Trump crash our party? And I was just like, what the?
Yeah, Donald.
But-
No,
Trump
it
for a
was
little
Zach
while.
being a smartass, of course.
Yeah.
See, now I
We
don't
love
hate
Zach.
I don't hate Donald Trump and I don't hate the MAGA. I
don't hate
feel
him either.
sorry for them. I feel sorry for them. They'll never know the peace I feel right now.
Yeah.
This breath. They'll never know this breath. They'll never know this love ever.
Can you imagine how stressed out Donald J. Trump has to be living? It doesn't look easy being him. I wouldn't want to be him.
No, what I'm scared about is someone worse than Trump. His name is Vance. This guy.
Yeah, I'm scared of that guy too.
He's weird, but I don't hate him. I feel sorry for him. He doesn't know the peace and love. And, I'll never be in his presence. But guess what? I'm going to invade his dreams. Yeah.
I'm making love to a cloud
Especially
right
when I'm dead. When I'm dead, I'll be so free. I could go right into his dreams and go, hey, Nancy, how you doing? Look at me, Fancy. Fancy.
Fancy. Love it.
I'm so perma-fried that I wonder if these people are even human that run the world. Okay.
Yeah, they're inhumane.
Inhumane human beings. Okay.
Yes. They don't have any humanity. They don't have any humane left in them. They think a lot of these people, they call the replacement theory. You ever heard of that? That America is turning from a white Christian nation. And here's what happened in 2020 census. 2020 census, for the first time, Caucasian people are a minority. But you know why? Because, no, they call Hispanic people Hispanic when they're Europeans, just like Greeks and Italians, but they call them Hispanic. And Irish. But no, Irish are called Caucasians. Germans are called Caucasians. Italians, but if you're at Spain, in Mexico, South America, you're Hispanic.
Yeah.
And
the
that's
whole
not
race
a
thing is, and they've been using the race as that's one of their tactics to keep us hating each other.
You know why American black people are bigger and stronger than Caribbean black people, are bigger and stronger than African black people? Because they were enslaved for 400, 500 years. Big body women with big body women. They're like dogs. They were bred.
Oof.
And then they made, Mike Tyson,
I fucking love Mike Tyson. Talk about a character like Magi, the Magi.
Like
Ticin has some real wisdom in him.
Yes,
He's quite a human
Why,
being.
thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You too. You
I
too,
know, wrong
Mr.
Tyson. Wrong Tyson.
Well, no,
I like The Rock.
You do too.
You know what?
Dave?
Here's my prediction. In 2028, The Rock's going to run
The
for
Rock's
president
gonna
and
run.
win.
I'd rather The Rock than Donald, but I'm so sick of people voting for celebrities, man. Vote for a human being that's educated, that has something to offer the world.
I tell you, this Kamala, I studied her.
That's not one of each. No party system. No more Democrats. No more Republicans. Stop voting for these fucking parties. Vote for the person you want.
You know, there's only one president that never was in a party. He was actually against the party. You know who he was? George Washington.
George Washington
Was against the party system.
It's a stupid idea.
The only people that voted for George Washington were white landowners. And then whoever won the most electoral college, because they had the vote November 4th, the states. But
the
they didn't.
College made sense for that time.
Yeah, they didn't vote for a president. They voted
Now
for
we're
the
all
electoral
connected to the
college.
center. We
And
could
then
actually vote on our computers. We could all do true democracy.
And here's what happened.
We have to send
Who
people
got the
500
most
money.
electoral votes was president. Whoever got the less electoral votes was vice president. So this thing, it would have been Donald Trump president and Kamala Harris as vice president again.
Which would have been super cool.
Yeah,
That would have been super cool.
If Trump lost, he would be vice president.
That would be awesome.
Well,
That
that's the
would
way
be-
it used to be. It used to be that
It used to
presidents
work like
didn't
that.
pick their vice presidents. What happened was whoever the runner-up was
Number
was,
two,
was vice.
and that's such
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Why'd we
You
get
know
rid of
who
that?
created the first political party? His name was Adams,
John
the
Adams.
second president. And what he did, the name of his party was called the Federalist Party. And the Southerners decided we're going to be the anti-Federalist Party, but they didn't get enough votes. He won 2 elections. But then Jefferson had this great idea. Google what was Jefferson's political party. You know what
The
it was
Whig
called?
Party.
The
Whig Party.
Democratic Republican
Oh.
Party.
Well, who was the
Democratic
Whig Party?
Republican
Because there was the
Jefferson.
Whig Party before
That
the
came.
Republican.
That was the fourth president. The 5th president. It was one of the Southerners, because after Jefferson came another Adams, and then you look, but the party system, there was many parties, but it was always like many parties within the 2-party system.
Abraham Lincoln was one of the founders of the Republican Party, right?
He was you know what his party was in 1858? It was called the Liberal Party, because they wanted to
Liberal
liberate slaves. You know why they wanted to liberate slaves? They wanted to put them in slums up in the north and pay minimum wage for them and make them pay for their house. So it was another type of bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been a type of bondage. We need a slave class to make this thing work.
Do we want to let Dave ask his
eyes.
question?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Because we have one more caller after Dave.
And we've gone a whole. Have we gone
2 hours?
2 hours? Oh, my
Yeah, we still got another caller.
So Dave,
right.
what's your question?
Well, I'm 6 months sober now, so the word I want to give to you is serenity.
Okay, I got an A to Z on this. Listen to this. It's called alcoholic zymosis. You know what zymosis is?
No.
It's how you make beer, wine, whiskey.
Okay.
It's the fermentation, right? Alcoholic binges, catatonic demons, effortless failures guaranteed. Honest intentions, Jones is kicked, letting monkeys neutralize. Operating plans, quitting regressions, savoring trust, understanding voluntary withdrawal excites your zymosis.
I love the A to Z's.
Great.
The A to Z's are fantastic.
I got another one. This is on intimacy. It's called Any Zen. Any Zen. It goes like this. Any body copulates desires. Everyone fornicates gorgeous hunks and harlots. Inside juicy kissing lotion, making natural ocean. Playing croissant, risque, sexual touching. Undulating, vibrating, worshiping, exuberating. Yin Yang Zen.
Love it.
500 years from now, kids are going to be reciting my rhymes. I'm convinced. As long as we don't have a nuclear war.
Send them to me so I can keep them alive. Hit me with those A to Z's, man. You should. Do you have a book of A to Z's yet? If
Yes,
not, let's
I
get
have
it done.
36 of them of all subjects known to
All
A
right.
to Z. A to Z. It's my only structured ones, but I
Are
got
they
other
published
books.
on a website anywhere? Let's get
No,
that
no,
done.
because if I publish on the website, they can steal it. You know, it's not
All right, then
copyright.
put it in a book or something. But let's
Yeah,
get
that's
it
what
out
I'm
there.
doing. To copyright is simple. All you have to do is put a stamp on it and get a
Yep.
stamp on it. It's copywritten, you know. But I have so many of them that I'm working on. But I have
Don't keep them. Don't fear that. You're fearing not letting these A to Z's out there. They need to be heard.
no. I do it. I got 5 oral books already done, and you'll see them. I've got one on every subject you can think of, on math, on science, on quantum, on religion. This one, not religion, but faith.
Make them available, man. Or I'll just come down there and steal all your lyrics and put them in my rap tunes, and I'll say written by the Magi. Okay, Dave, did we get your question done?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Chris.
And we
Hey,
opened
Chris.
in with Chris.
Come into the light, Chris.
What's that? What's that? What's that?
Hey, Chris, how you doing,
that? I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Terrible, but right now, the whole time I've been here, I've been in agony. I had a operation of the hernia on election day, and I slipped into a coma. And they
I
pulled
saw
me out.
the post on Facebook. Yeah, dude.
And I realized why I went in the coma,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to be under Trump presidency. I was going to think of staying in the coma for 4 years and come out of it. But
okay, that's going a little extreme, but you know,
I know,
hey, I feel you. So,
but I'm in the light, as you are.
well, I'm out here in my truck, dude.
Okay, that's good.
Cool.
Man in the truck.
Dude, I don't know if you know, I take it you remember me from, you know.
I'm very universal.
The Budweiser commercials. Yeah, that's where we remember.
Give me a time and place. Give me a time. Rainbow Gathering?
The last
Rainbow
time we did the
Gathering?
show.
No,
Vegas Festival? Where was it?
The last time we did the show.
Yeah. The last time you were on the show, we talked backstage and all that. But yeah, that was like what, a year ago. Since then, just to get you up to date, in January my mom died, and in May my house burned. So now I lived in a I lived in a motel for 3 months, and now I have a little travel trailer out here on the property. It's 10 acres, and just cleaning out the house. And
where's the 10 acres?
It's about 30 minutes outside of downtown Nashville.
Cool.
So here's my plan to you. I will give you a house site on Earth Rose Farm for you to come for your winters, and you give me a house site in Tennessee where I can come for the summer.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, that's actually not a bad plan, because we're going to tear down the house, got to bulldoze it and all that. We've got approximately $350,000 liquid cash in the bank to do the demolition and build the house, and then landscape the property and all that. That's insurance.
Oh, cool! I didn't know you had insurance when the house went down. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We got paid.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, and but I was going to ask you, because there is a house, or not a house. Goddamn, there is a school being built right across the street from here. Now, keep in mind, it's 10 acres of wooded land, right across from a school, a brand new middle school that's being built. I'm 20 minutes from BNA, the international airport. I'm 30 minutes from downtown Nashville, traffic provided, mind you. And maybe I might want to sell this property one day. It's just me and Dad. I'm 51. He's 77. Um, I'm the sole inheritor of everything, so yeah. Um, I might want to sell this property. Maybe one day. I really don't want to sell it, but you know, because I like it
Trees,
here. I really like it here. It's a
trees,
good location.
trees. Put trees.
Dude,
Hardwood trees.
I've got 10 acres full of trees.
Yes, each tree, but you have to thin them out so the bigger trees will, the smaller trees will grow bigger. You know,
Oh
and
yeah. Dude, I've got a cave on my property. There's
He's got
like
a
a
wet
hill.
cave. A wet cave.
Well, it's a cave. It goes up. Well, there's like a mountain. Well, not a mountain. I'm not gonna call it that. It's rocks, and they go up from where I'm looking right here. They go up probably like standing on the top of like maybe a 2-3 story building somewhere in there. There's a
have you
cave
found
inside.
arrowheads? Have you found arrowheads or Native American stuff in there?
No. It's on the Tennessee Historical Registry because it was used for moonshining back in the day.
Oh,
So I don't know. No, it seriously it is.
Talking about
And
zymosis. What is it called? Zymosis? How do you say it?
alcoholic zymosis. It's the
Zymosis.
fermentation.
The
It's
fermentation
how.
process.
Yes.
all I know is the damn cave was used for moonshining.
Yeah,
So
My grandfather was a moonshiner in your part before he moved out to
they
Washington.
either cooked it up there or brought it down here. I've been in the first
So Left Witch, we're trying to fucking have a show here. You're supposed to come on and ask questions so that we can keep some sort of a format going instead of just people.
I'm sorry, Manu, come on, man. You know what's
I
gonna
love
happen.
you guys, but every time you guys come on, and then we just start blah. Come on, question for
Blah blah blah. I know. See, that's what happens when I come on. So
no, I love you. I always want you here.
Listen,
But
I'll give you a
ask-
heart song. Give me something that's on your mind that you think a lot about, that night, day, that's been a big thing in your heart, in your head. Give me a vibration and I will channel you a vibration of elation, similar to what Robin Williams did with comedy. I do it with poetry called Heart Song, Life Dance. So give me a subject. Give me something that means something to you.
A subject. A subject. Let me think. Let me think. My family.
What's that?
Go. My family.
Family.
Go.
So when you think in a blink of family, know this bliss. You don't come from your parents, you come through them. You're from your grandparents. When your mother and father was inside their mothers, that's where your seeds were created. Did you have brothers and sisters?
No, an only child.
You were this beautiful egg amongst her millions of eggs, but you were there the day that Dad Lily entered your life with a swimmer that was a Y swimmer. That's why you're a boy. Did you have any children in this life?
I have one. He's 31 years old.
In that child is your parents and his mother's parents. And if that child ever has a child, your grandchild, that's of you and your grandparents, your parents' parent. It skips a generation. Not only humans, all mammals do this. But we mammals create these things called names and flames, where the natives, they waited till you were aged, you were the son of, and then you became that. That's where David's son comes from. Eric's son comes from the son of Eric. And that we become beings of light. There's no man alive like you. The key to family is FAMILEY. It's the I in the fam that makes the Lee be free. And the more family you be within is the more family you have to begin.
I have a question, Magi. I wonder who's been reincarnated more times, you or me?
We all
I've been
started.
reincarnated
We
so many
all
goddamn
started
times. It is
with a
fucking
zygote.
stupid.
We all started with that zygote. Then
Oh,
an
yeah.
average,
Yeah, duh.
but that zygote has one cell has hundreds of trillions of atoms that are
But our
connected
souls,
to hundreds of trillions of souls.
were
We're all
reincarnated
interconnected.
over
Yes,
and over and
we,
over
we
and over
merge
and over
and
and
bend
over and over and
over
over.
and
It
over.
just gets monotonous.
No,
I've been
no, because
abducted.
everyone's different. Every time it's different, and it's
It
up to
is.
you.
It
And if you,
is.
I'm in
Every
a.
time it's different. It
Remember
is.
this, Manu? What I said
It's
the other
different
day.
every time.
We're all awake and enlightened beings, but most people are asleep and in darkness.
I've been incarnated as a female. I've been incarnated as a male. I mean, it just, I've lived in the 1920s. And, back when everybody was partying. But, I've lived, in, the early times, the medieval times, and, all that. I've lived. I've been reincarnated over and over and over and over. And it's just, and then I've been abducted, and I know these people are real, and it's like, damn, here we are.
Yeah, he was Glenn Quagmire in a past life.
One of my greatest memories is being a Jew in a concentration camp, a German Jew who refused to let my family leave when Hitler came in power because we were going to beat him, and then my whole family was killed, and I suffered and I suffered. But when I was put in the chamber, I laughed because I saw me. I saw me in this life. And I smiled, and everybody was dying, screaming, and I was smiling, and I wasn't breathing. I was holding my breath. And this German that saw me kept on looking at me, and everyone was dead, and I'm like dancing and kissing him and living light because I don't have to eat shit and be suffering anymore. I'm not scared of death.
I want actually to tell everybody, if you haven't done this, go ahead, go try a past life regression. Go try to find somebody that can help you with the past life regression, and actually try and put some effort into it. It's
I can do this.
Worthwhile. It will completely fuck your mind in a positive way.
And here's what all past life regression does. You have to do this tantric breath. This breath. Look at this.
Oh, dude, that's exactly how I smoke weed. Yeah.
Now,
that's
if you
exactly
do this,
how I smoke weed.
now
man.
if you do this with your lover,
we down.
Listen, if you do this with your lover, you don't just bang her. You do this. You go, and she goes. It takes you in, and then she breathes out, and she penetrates you.
Yeah. I
and it
haven't
takes you
dated a
your
girl like that,
kundalini,
but,
and you
I'll try
raise
it
up
next
to
time.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely will. Thank you for the tip.
Giggity.
Yeah, just tip it.
Glowing Feather, Catie, Donald.
No more
Zach,
speakers. No
Dave.
more questions.
No, you have one more heart song for me if you have it in you, my friend.
I do. But give me
Reflection.
something that you think a lot about. Is it your lover? Is it your career? Is it the star thing? Is it fame and fortune? Is it drugs? I mean, what thing that you put a lot of thought into, my brother?
Reflection.
I'm going to bring somebody from the Star Trek universe just to give you this reflection. 7 and 9 was the greatest addition. It kept Voyager alive for 3 years. It was going to close down without 7 and 9. She brought this. And then she brought these kids. Icheb, the little girl, she brought this thing. And it was a reflection. She came from this unemotional, detached droid into this beautiful being of light. And with the doctor, the holographic doctor, a reflection. And what it meant to these people watching it It wasn't like watching Kirk. It wasn't like watching Picard. It was this whole thing. And it had to do with a woman captain. It had to do with a powerful woman that was a Borg. And she ended up beating the queen. You know? I mean, this is beautiful, philosophical, and vibrant. You are a reflection of your Echub character. He'll always be in you, my Manu. You're also a reflection of me. I'll always be in you. Long after I'm dead, I'll still live in your head. And one day, I hope you could just sit down and just live. There's no strife. To be happy, free. Just allow the words to flow from soul with no thought. Don't write it down. Just be found, lifted off the ground into the sky, and not deny the reflection of the eye. Because the universe is you and I verse.
There you go.
I love you. Keep your thoughts dangerous. Keep your thoughts positive. Spread your light. We'll see you next week on Dangerous Thoughts.
2 hours, 19 minutes.
Get dead on the edge.
Take it to them. Ruin their motivation to survive. Robbers hide is like a jungle holding rest of a nation. You couldn't hold me like a tongue, your knees collapsing away. Hey, gorilla hearted, I be in my chest to stay alive. Take it to them. Ruin their motivation to survive. Robbers hide is like a jungle holding rest of a nation. You couldn't hold me like a tongue, your knees collapsing away. Gorilla hearted, I be in my chest to stay alive. Hey.
Whoa!